I mean, I love Lee's thing, which is just get up in front of a group of people and you only have to do two things. Look at somebody, be with them, which was hard at first because I want to, think and then download. Think, think, download. So just stay with a person. The next thing you need to do, you ask you to do for a speaking circle is breathe. That's it. You don't have to talk. I'm going to go to a speaking circle and learn how to speak in public, but you're not required to speak. And when I just, that first class or two, first session or two, like, oh my God, it was just, I get it now. It's just being seen, which is both, this is personal, but I think it's also probably universal. I desperately want it, but I'm terrified of it. I'm terrified of it because I desperately want it. They're enmeshed. But back to veganism. Man, I flashed on a story, not a story, an experience. It was, I won't use his real name. I'll call him JT, his initials. We were 13 or 14 years old. We were around the pond that his house was on. I walked, a quarter mile down the street in Westchester County to be at the pond, and I was a fishing person. I would fish. My father taught me to catch fish and cast into the waters and all that thing. And then later I would go around, like Guy, spear hunting, trying to, basically kill animals. There's a frog, try to kill it. There's a fish, try to kill it. Try to spear it in the water. How cool. And of course this is ancient stuff, Men specifically have been killing animals forever. To eat them ideally. But then it's also just a sport, and that's why I understand why people can be sport hunters, because it's something ancient. Humans have been doing this for thousands and thousands of years. But JT caught a sunny, a bluegill sunfish, and I'm just, because of the room here, I don't want to go into it in detail, but to say that he sat at the shore and proceeded to torture that fish. And boy, that was a conflict of programming, which is, I'm a guy, I got to toughen up and deal with this. And then the part of me that, the little boy, the innocent human being, male or female, doesn't matter. It was like, what the fuck are you doing? Leave that innocent creature alone, just trying to get away from. And I could be wrong, but I like to think I had the awareness that he was doing this because his father beat the shit out of him. I didn't know the psychological underpinnings of that, as I understood it pretty well later, today. But I knew, like, this, to do that, because I couldn't do that. I could kill things, but I couldn't torture them. I wouldn't want to torture them. Why would you want to torture them? Because I was not treated that way. I was never beaten or abused. And I knew enough about his upbringing that he was. So there was some connection there. I also knew I wanted to end it. And how do you do that? You want to, stop that or hit him, do violence to him to stop him doing violence to a fish, which he's doing because violence was done to him. And then I quickly, very quickly figured out that the way to end it was to withdraw the audience, leave. And then whatever he would do, it would probably stop because he wasn't having somebody watch him in this. He wanted the audience. But, that scene haunts me when I think about it. And for all the complexity and the fact that I ate fish. And I would pull a fish up out of a boat and, throw it in a creel or a bucket or whatever, and just, it would, slowly die. I wasn't actively inflicting more pain, but it was pretty nasty death versus just taking a live fish and cutting its head off. You're going to eat it, do that at least. Or looking at giant, God, the more you watch, the more, I was going to say, watching a giant fishing boat, take thousands of fish onto the boat out of a net, and then all of them are dying, suffocating slowly. I mean, it's so horrific to go there. I want to go there to sort of do the right thing and feel that. And of course, I want to get away from that as far away from that as possible. Why would I want to feel that? It's horrific. And yet it's going on in the world. As I say that, I think of the movie Earthlings. I don't know if you've seen that or heard of it, but I just saw the trailer for this film, which is kind of an overview, about a 90-minute film, I think, which I haven't seen, because just the trailer reduces me to those same childhood tears of just this overarching perspective of how we humans treat all animals, from wild animals to dog fights, to bullfights, to cockfights, to eating animals. It's just, when you try to take all that in, it's just overwhelming. And I think any hunter friend of mine or a meat-eating friend of mine, I can't criticize them. I'm too recently converted from being a meat eater. Take any one of them and have them watch that movie, or better yet, go into a slaughterhouse and look where that In-N-Out burger came from. And no one in their right mind, I mean, only the most brutalized people who are either paid to work there or who were beaten as kids could possibly say, I want to be part of that. They might want to go out and kill a cow and eat that thing, but it wouldn't be what goes on there with an assembly line of death. So that's why it has to be hidden. But I still struggle with how to take that on, you know, how much of that to see and to feel, to make me be a better advocate for speaking out, not against the people who do it, but just to expose the truth in our culture. Take away the brick walls and show glass walls, and then people make their own choices. It's not about being violent in response to violence. It's just about bringing truth into the world.
Even though I am not perfect, I feel angry. I feel like I want to just scream at everyone to wake up to what they're doing. I sincerely believe that if, of the people I know, if they really knew everything that I know, they would make the same choices I'm making. I know that my friends and family have no ill will or want to wish harm or suffering on anything. So I find it really frustrating and devastating, I'll say, devastating, to watch people I love who love animals make these choices. And I know that I used to make those same choices, and somehow I have not yet been able to find my own compassion and understanding and patience for the people who are just behind me on the same path. Not there yet. And I am hoping that maybe with Lee's help here that I can get to that place to communicate calmly, compassionately, in such a way that people can hear me. Because right now it's just, it feels like a scream, an angry, angry scream. God, it makes me upset talking about it. It really makes me upset. I'm about to go to my family in Alabama, and they all really enjoy eating cheese and bacon and steak and all of that stuff. And they know how I eat, but kind of see me as kind of weird and inconvenient, and my mother goes, she just crawls out of her skin when I start to talk about any of the realities of, you know, guess what happens to the baby boy chicks when they're born because they can't lay eggs. She's just like, So anyway, it's just a constant kind of frustration and struggle, and I consider that way more of a challenge than what I eat, is how I talk to people. That is really, really the challenge. And to be with the horrible pain that I feel when I even think about it. So upsetting, so upsetting. So I've seen some other vegans, probably some of you here, who really have found a way to be at peace with other people. I've heard people say it's a personal choice. I've heard vegans say it's a personal choice. If, you know, people get to choose what they want to eat, blah, blah, blah. And I am not to that place where I can say that. To me, it's the same as saying that slavery is a personal choice. You know, if you want to have slaves, that's your choice. that's the way it sounds to me. It's not okay with me. I'm hoping that the more time I spend with evolved vegans, I can learn from their example and find more peace than I have right now.